are live. There we go. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the expert interview series. My name is Lisa Mizels, and I'm your host. And this series was developed to help everyone. Welcome to the expert interview series. My name is Lisa Mizels. Can you hear me? I can hear me. This series was developed to help everyone. Welcome to the expert interview series. Oh, okay. We are still streaming on Facebook, and sorry, I was just echoing because there's a little delay on Facebook when you go live from the webinar, and it has to pop up in order to populate. Anyway, with all that tech stuff aside,
I know, right?
A lot of tech stuff happened already today, and that's why we're a few minutes late. So thank you for being here. Thank you for watching, everyone. And I'm just going to kind of start over again. So welcome to the expert interview series. My name is Lisa Mizels, and I am the host of this show. And basically what I do is I have entrepreneurs come on who are expert online business owners, and they are going to give you their best tip or strategy that's going to help you get an instant result in your business if you implement it. And that's the whole thing. Is here we are at the end of 2017. And we're looking at a whole nother year that, some of us have been online for a while and we get stuck, right? And it's how do you move forward? So a lot of the clients that I have don't know what step to take next. And really it's one step to the next step. To the next step. The key is implementation. And so this is what this is all about, to help you get a really good head start on 2018. And if you're watching live, I'd love to know where you're from. And if you're watching the replay, I'd love to know where you're from. So put it in the comments below, and give us a little love too. If you have any hearts or thumbs ups or page likes, that would all be super appreciated. So I want to go ahead and jump right in since we got started a little bit late. Today, my guest is going to be talking about decoding abundance, and I'm super excited to hear all about this. I know she's fantastic, and so I just want to say welcome, Gabrielle. Gabrielle.
It's Gabrielle.
Gabrielle. That's more beautiful than how I said it.
It's the New Yorker way.
Is it? Is it? Okay. It's beautiful. Well, I'm going to, tell everybody a little bit about you before we dive right in. So Gabrielle is known as the catalyst of light for abundance mastery. She's here to help you clear your energy, shift you into your power, and dramatically raise your vibration, which is so important right now. Right, really important. Gabrielle is the creator of the wildly popular Path to Prosperity program and the Heart Opening to Abundance series. She spent a good part of her life trying to be normal, to fit in and not be noticed. Sounds really familiar. It's exactly me. Although she resisted and was very stubborn, life circumstances pushed her to reclaim her ancient knowledge of multidimensional healing and activation gifts and abilities. She's a facilitator of higher consciousness, so you can take part in the dramatic shift happening at the highest levels in the universe. This universal shift is the gateway to multiple possibilities and opportunities to create whole life abundance and for reclaiming your own self-mastery. Gabrielle provides now moment guidance for your quickest path to clearing out what's keeping you from reclaiming your own mastery of abundance and beyond. So get ready to have your abilities and gifts activated so you can become the intentional creator of your life, your destiny, and your abundance. Wow.
I know, it's exciting, isn't it?
It's really exciting. And, that is exactly why I'm doing what I'm doing, is because I tried to fit in and be normal all of my life. And one day I looked at what I was wearing and it had like this nudge feeling like there's something more. And I looked at what I was wearing and I was beige. Everything was beige. I'm like, I am friggin' tired of being beige. And then it kind of went from there. But anyway.
That's awesome.
More about you. I want to hear about all of it.
Well, I think that for a lot of entrepreneurs and women, especially, you get to a place in your life where you realize, I did all of this because I was supposed to. I went, I went to college, I worked hard, I got a job, I have a career, I have children, I'm married, whatever. And suddenly you say, where was that pot at the end of the rainbow that I was working so hard to get, right?
Yeah.
And you realize that somewhere inside you lost your own self. And
Absolutely.
a lot of people talk about self-care, and yes, it's about self-care, but actually it's about who you are on the inside. Who am I? And for me, I didn't realize how wrapped up I was in my career and all that I had accomplished until it was literally, asunder, right? It's torn asunder and it is no longer. And I didn't, I think that men go through it, they call it their midlife crisis. And for women, we don't really talk about what happens when you have this transition, whenever that is.
Yep.
And for me, it wasn't from empty nest syndrome. It was because my career, where I was making $500,000 a year, was gone and over. And it didn't matter how a brilliant person I was and amazing and respected. I couldn't get a job to save my life, literally. So you just go, wow. And that drove me to ask the question, what do I do now? And for a lot of people, that's their turning point. But for me, and the part that I share with everybody about being stubborn is because I think that for a lot of us, we end up in our mind. And that's how we operate. It's how our society trains you to operate. The smarter you are, et cetera, et cetera. It just, compounds itself. So you actually logically think things through. And then, you know what? I'm not going to do that because that doesn't make any sense, or I'm not going to be able to make money that way because, well, who's going to pay for it? And I don't understand how I can make a business out of it, et cetera. And so you go through all these things. And so your mind actually keeps you from being able to move forward, but also inside, you're also unfocused. You're scattered. I think of it when I work with clients like birdshot, right? It's like we're all over the board and I could do this and I could do that. Yes, because as women, frankly, we can do a heck of a lot of everything, right? I mean, I draw the line at having to change the battery in my car.
Yeah, car things, no.
I have to say that is one thing I'm very stringent. I don't want to handle it. But the point is that, yes, we can do everything. But in order for us to have the fulfillment inside, you have to figure out what it is that really lights you up. And see, when I know you work with clients and I work with clients, and it seems like it came to me recently, somebody said, it came when I was working on helping her release blocks. And it was like, you have to speak your truth. And suddenly I got this understanding that it was way more than speaking her truth, because she didn't even know her truth. And you can't know your truth until you are connected to you, and that's connected to your higher heart. And that is kind of an odd concept at first if people aren't really aware of even what that means. But bringing it back to an abundance place, decoding your abundance means, where are you? Where are you right now? So everybody can ask themselves, okay, so am I experiencing not enough money to pay my bills, to do my everyday living, to keep the roof over my head? Am I really struggling with that? Or am I bringing in only just enough to cover everything? And you think to yourself, as soon as you have something extra, somehow something else manifests itself and it takes that extra, right? I mean, so where are you in your abundance? And so that's your baseline, right? So we're looking at it from a baseline. Now, in the higher consciousness realms, there is Dr. David Hawkins, who did his scale of consciousness, and everybody knows it. And so I'm going to relate it to that because we don't have to teach any new things, right? So under the level of 200, those are your lower vibrations. And the truth is that so many of us either operate from there as our starting point, or we end up dipping and, we do this up and down, right? And so you end up like, oh my God, why am I so afraid? And as I was sharing with you before we started, we all have to work on our own selves all the time to make ourselves do that next step. For me, it's been, I've really avoided going public at all because I was like, no way. And then I'm just like, This is the stubborn part. And it's been with me through every step. I mean, I was speaking earlier really quick about, after leaving my corporate, all I wanted to do was go back to corporate because I could be just normal. I didn't have to do anything outside of the realm of normal and all that. And then I went to see a reader because I was completely frustrated since nothing was falling my way. And this is how you know the universe is shutting you down, is when no doors open. There's not a creak. There's not anything, right? There's no window. There's nothing. And it's just dead. And you think to yourself, what am I doing wrong? The answer is you're doing what you were doing and you're not to do that anymore. Mm-hmm. But I did not heed the advice. The reader told me, you're a healer. And I always tell people she had these bright blue eyes and very evolved being. And she's looking at me and I'm looking back at her with my green eyes. And I'm like, no, I just want to be normal. And I want to know what corporate job I can translate my skills into, right? I mean, I'm very brainiac. I have a financial analyst background, mortgage banking. I've been, brain. Yeah. So she didn't give me the answer I wanted. So, just from me saying that I didn't do what she said, right? And so what am I doing now? Exactly what she said. So I share the story because that happens to all of us in some way. The people came into your life and they said it to you, that magic thing of you're here at 3 times and then right? But I still didn't heed. And so I share that because that was an 18 months additional time that I allowed myself to suffer a lot because I just wouldn't do it. And finally I said, fine, I'll do it for 6 months. And if it doesn't work out, I'm going back to corporate. So that was my way to make it okay and give myself permission. And I just, I surrendered. And I have an issue with even the word surrender. I allowed myself to go down that road. So there you are. That was 10 years ago. So here we are now. And then I was nicely coasting and doing my thing. And everybody kept telling me, you have to get out there. And I'm like, no, not happening. I'm doing just enough to stay inside what I know I need to do in order to stay right with my own self, right? So anyway, I've gotten the word. And so here I am. And every time I take the next step, I realize, gosh, that wasn't that bad. You go, hey, that wasn't that hard. But I had my own limitations. And it's as you do the clearing and the healing of the energy, the beliefs and the patterns that have been imposed, however they've been imposed. The reason that multidimensionality is important is because most of us are given the belief that everything that's happening to you is because of your experiences in this life. But it is not true. That is a false reality. They are reinforced by what you are experiencing in this life. But the beginning has been from another experience. Okay? However, your people can understand that for themselves. So when people do energy clearing and work, they'll either say, well, nothing happened, or actually that made it worse, or I didn't get that magnificent abundance. And that's where that lower 200 comes in place. Because as you release things, it will, think of it as a Band-Aid, right? What's underneath the Band-Aid? The next level of stuff that has to get healed and released. Yeah. And that's why we do things now. And I'm so excited because compared to 10 years ago and even 20 years ago when I first became a Reiki master, and that's the funniest part, is that I had a spiritual life while I was corporate, except for they were completely separate.
Right. Yeah.
And they did not and nobody in corporate knew anything. I met my husband on a spiritual journey in Tibet. But so it's not like I wasn't spiritual, but I totally did not marry them at all. Yeah. So the point is that 20 years ago, we did not have the ability to access that higher realm. Very few people did. Of course, there are always the special few. And now it's open for all of us to be able to access it and be in that universal energetic flow. And how do you do that? You figure out where you are in your abundance, and then you begin working on the fears, the guilt, the sadness, all those things, less than, not deserving, they're just lower vibrations because you have to make yourself whole on the inside. And that's how you do it. You work on that lower 200, because as you get over that, that's when things like your car battery dies and actually didn't even cause a blip in your day. It's just like boom, and it all comes together perfectly, and things happen. And it is suddenly you go from what I used to call chaos management, and suddenly it's fun drama. It's like, oh my God, that was so cool. Look what happened. I just got to, this just happened to me this week. My SUV battery died as I was taking my son to school. And you know what? It was no big deal. And then I brought the battery in to be changed, and I got a completely brand new battery for free because my other one was under warranty. And I was like, you know what? I didn't waste 1 ounce of this is a pain or anything. I just like, you know what? It's cool. I'm going, it's done. And it just evolved perfectly. And it's where you don't have to try anymore to feel that way. It just, that's your reaction. And that's what we mean by changing your abundance zone, because it's no longer effort. Now, let's be honest. When you first start out, it is effort to think positively. It is effort to try to get something to move, right? Mm-hmm. You think, oh my God, this is so much work. And
you're trying, you're pushing, yeah.
It's that, and that still creates resistance energy.
Yeah.
And then people are like, but I don't understand. I'm doing what I was told. Well, yes, you are. If you want to give it a percentage, because remember, I'm a brainiac. If you want to give it a percentage, you might be actually having a 20% effectiveness with all that energy you're putting toward it. But when you clear out these lower vibrational feelings and limitations, then that same effort, suddenly you get 75% effectiveness. Wow.
Yeah.
You didn't do anything extra.
Just a different, it's not even a viewpoint, right? Because it doesn't happen in the brain.
Right. The brain is the best limiter.
Right.
I mean, I know everybody talks about mindset, and the problem with it is that it makes me cringe, actually, because the truth is you would have to police your mind. And the truth is that your mind is only this much, right? So let's say it's got a 50% effectiveness handling everything else going on in your life. Then you have the rest of your entire being. So you have your physical self, your spiritual self, your energetic self, and then all the multidimensional layers of yourself that are saying something completely different. So when people say, why is this not working? Because I'm thinking about it, I'm visioning it, I'm this and that. Well, because you've got way more than 50% going on that are talking about something different, because you're either not going in the direction you need to be going in, you're not receiving the information you need so that you're in tune with yourself. I mean, my favorite thing, and I am guilty of this, I will never forget. I was 30 years old and I asked a reader, psychic, intuitive, I don't get it. Like, what do you hear or see? Or, give me like tangible stuff here. Because remember, we're mind people.
Right.
And she's like, well, sometimes I get pictures. Sometimes I just understand. And I'm thinking, okay, lady, that's not helping me at all. It's like, thanks for zero. Okay. I don't know what to do with that. And so part of the work that I do is clearing out the reasons you separated from that voice within yourself. And the truth is, your voice is working. You're just not detecting it. You're just not hearing it, or you override it. And I'll be honest, that happens more times than people realize. I recently said to a client, okay, if you were thinking that inner voice was going to come in as like a separate voice, like, is it, high and fairy-like? I mean, what are you anticipating it should sound like, right? And she laughed. I mean, it was funny. I was saying it as a funny, because in a way, that's kind of how people think I'm waiting for the big boom. Like, where's the God voice or something? Right?
Yeah.
We're too movie oriented.
If it's whispers, I can't hear it.
If it sounds like me, it just must be my mind. It can't be me. But the truth is that it is you, and it is going to speak to you in your gut, in your voice, or not speak, or you'll just get the feeling or the nudge or whatever it is. And so by doing the clearing work for people and helping them to actually identify and reconnect to who they really are from a heart, everybody talks about heart-centered business. We don't mean this heart, right? Mm-hmm. And the heart, the high heart chakra is here, actually, in the thymus area. So we clear out and heal all the layers of the heart. That's how you raise your abundance frequency. And then you move to your spirit and then the mind. And the reason for this, because I know for all of us, we want to know, why do you not start with the mind? Do you want to know?
Yeah, let's hear it.
Because your mind overrules and controls. Your heart is in the flow. Mm-hmm. And so you have to strengthen the heart and give back permission and essentially the control to the heart and the spirit before the mind, I think of it as this, is wrestled back into position so it works together, all three, mm-hmm. versus only solely by itself, always squashing the others, right? Yeah. So this is why you don't start with healing your mind or working on mindset, because that is almost a futile effort. The results and the percentage of win on that is extremely low.
Yeah, no, it's so true. I just did a couple of Facebook Lives about this in my group, because this is what keeps us stuck. This is the feeling. If you can feel your way through things, if you can, I say follow the joy, follow the excitement, because then you know you're on the right track, because it's not here. It's a feeling in your body that's telling you, yes, this is right. I mean, if we could just navigate life that way, but we don't. We go, oh, well, okay, but I can't do that because I have to do blah, 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 or I shouldn't do blah, 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 right? So yes. You negate the feelings that your body's signaling for you to,
Yes, you totally override them. And then later say, wow, I should have listened to myself. And then you get the guilt and the shame because you screwed up, and then you just play it over and over. And then one of my favorites is, well, I want to make sure I never do that again. And I'm thinking to myself, all you're doing is drawing it to you again, because you're constantly replaying it over and over. And you've created then more of that lower vibrational feeling of how you failed and how it didn't work out right. And I'll be honest, when you're at a lower abundance zone, what happens is until you release all of that, you will continue to draw to you what you need to learn the lesson to release it. Now, the next piece of that is people go, well, I did release it, or I forgave, or whatever. But because it doesn't just go in one place, and remember, I already said you have a physical body, an etheric body, and all these extra bodies, right? That we don't ever talk about out in the real world. It gets filed in all sorts of places. And I always tell people, and it doesn't follow a logical file system. I mean, it's not like shame, guilt. I mean, it's going to be overlapping other things, and it triggers other things that remind you of an event that happened another time. And so it happens that way in a subconscious level. And so you're not even aware, and you don't have to be aware. And this is the beauty of where we are energetically at this time, as you read in the beginning. Mm-hmm. It's that we're in a place where you work with facilitators, coaches, etc., who actually have the knowledge, the ability, and the formula to help you reach those levels, so that it can just be washed out. You don't have to know. And that's the beauty, because when we spend time trying to figure it out, where are you? We're back up here.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's not where, whenever my clients start by telling me the story of what happened, whatever, that's really just for their own benefit. Because when we connect to their higher self, we may not start there at all. We will end up fixing that issue or releasing it, but it's not going to be at the start of where they think the problem is, because everybody wants to treat the symptom. But that's not actually the origin. That's just the symptom.
So if I were to come to you and said, oh my God, I can't get rid of this guilt or shame or whatever, let's just go guilt. I can't get rid of this guilt. How would you help me get rid of the guilt?
We would connect to your higher self and find out what it is that it's going to actually be in your security area. But I don't generally talk about it in a chakra sense, but it's in that area for you specifically. I'm sorry if you didn't want to talk about it specifically. But so we would go within, and we don't have to know exactly what the incidences were, because we're going to peel them back energetically, but it will come down to you forgiving yourself for doing whatever it was that you did that caused you to not feel secure and to lose that sense of universal energy, has my back, has my support, because I screwed up, I don't deserve it anymore. I mean, so I'm getting goosebumps. So I just have a question. Does it have to be in this lifetime, or we could be, no.
We don't even know where it's coming from?
It's never, I promise. It's so bizarre. And I know this is such a general statement, but it never begins in this lifetime. This is your lifetime to mirror. I mean, every lifetime mirrors back to you what it is you need to learn and release. But it's not learning like, I'm never going to pick a guy like that again. I'm never going to go and work at a job like that again. That's what we think, because that's what our mind says. That's the mind's perception and interpretation. But it's actually usually higher lessons. And the lessons generally come down to this deep forgiveness of yourself. It's a deep forgiveness on every level of your being, not just saying, I forgive Joe Schmo. It's that everything that they needed to learn, they learn. And so energetically, we can provide those higher lessons for them. And then you can release the karma, and you can release the commitments that were made. And people don't realize how often they actually commit their energy to another being. And I mean, you can think of it just as a parent, right?
Yeah.
And our businesses, I mean, everything that we put our energy into, in some way we're committing. Marriage vows of any sort, throughout your lifetimes. The things that people don't understand is that just because that life ended doesn't mean the contract ended. It doesn't mean that the oath or vows. So if you were a nun or a monk or a priest and you took an oath or vow of poverty, yes, you're going to have to cancel that now.
And so you don't have to even know. I mean, you
don't have to know. And that's the beauty of working with people who can access the information, because your higher self knows what you need. And every time, like I was saying, every time I've worked with somebody and they, we can talk about it and make all these mental things for what we're going to check into. And I go to the other side and connect with their higher self. And it's never what we think. Never. And I always laugh about it, because I find it so awesome that I don't have to be in charge. Actually.
Right.
And it's actually, right. The less in charge I am, the more work gets done. And isn't that awesome? So
yeah, you're just a facilitator.
Just a facilitator, and the other side knows exponentially more than we will ever know or understand. And the more that, the higher my vibration goes, and the more that I access the other side, it amazes me. It is so awesome. And I always wish that people could tap in and be there with me for the ride, because the information that is shared or downloaded always sends me into such like, oh my God, I never understood it that way. And it's like, it's standing right in front of you. You've heard the word forever, but you didn't have the understanding of actually what it means. Just like me saying to you earlier about, everybody says, speak your truth. And I know that I perceived it like, okay, I have to be strong enough to say what I want to say. Right. And that's pretty much how I understood that phrase. And then when I was working on this client this week, when she was talking about, we're working on to help her figure out what she's going to do with her healing as a business. And it was really fascinating what was channeled for her. And then she goes, yes, but that's my least favorite part of what I do, which is that she's a channeler. And she goes, I said, yes. Okay. So let's see why that is. So her heart, the inner heart, the high heart was closed off from ancient times, where I can tell based on what it is I have to do to release it for you and kill the contracts or whatever it was that the reason was closed. Anyway, it was amazing because she did not trust herself. She was an oracle in the past. And, that gets to be personal when you're killed because of whatever you brought through. And so some king didn't like it. But this is where I got the understanding that knowing your truth is a piece, but that larger piece within yourself, which is, who am I and what is my truth? I don't even, everybody just jumps to this one part, but that's really not step one. And that's why more people aren't doing it. Or they come out really abrasive because they're thinking that that's what their response is, because it's opposite of what they were doing. But we're not talking about opposites. We're talking about being in the flow, right? And to be in your abundance zone and to decode where you are now, you want to be in the flow of it. So it's not about doing exact opposite of everything you've done or making yourself do something you don't really feel comfortable doing. It's about finding the reasons you're not comfortable doing what you should be doing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's exciting, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, to me, speaking your truth or speaking up, living, that is living, finding out, like you said, finding out who you are so you can live in that full expression.
Right.
And then you're able to speak because you're confident. You have no problem with it.
And that's where your abundance comes. That's where your passion comes forward. And you just go, I think to myself, like I said, 10 years ago, if only I could have understood, if only I had been given like a video of how it would really make me feel 10 years later, would I have put it off for 18 months? Even then I didn't really embrace it. I only just did the bare minimum for the longest time. Yeah. And so that's what we're here to encourage for everyone who listens, is that stop resisting. The resistance is the fact that you need to be doing something and you need to just do it, and know that by following through with that hardest part, whatever it is, hiring a coach, working with someone like yourself as a coach, working with someone like me who gets them so that they can show up and truly be that person and know what they're up to and what they need to do. That's awesome. But I have to tell you this part, because whenever you try to do something on your own, it is harder, actually.
Yeah.
And working with somebody who's been there, done that, and actually has that formula for how to do it faster, it actually takes longer.
And more suffering.
It is so much more suffering and struggle, and it's frustrating. It's so frustrating. I cannot tell you, I for years tried to figure out how to make my own healing work a business, and not having to go out in public. So figure that out, right? And about a year and a half ago, I was given the message that my grace period was over. Like, it was nice that we allowed you to just go ahead and hang out and do just your bare minimum. And we all understood that that's what you were doing. Not like you're pulling the wool over anybody's eyes, right? But now you have until October 2016 to January 2017 to actually go public. Do you know what that did? That made me go, what?
Yeah.
Oh my God. And I will tell everybody, I did not jump right up and go, all right, I got the directive and I'm on it.
Right.
You know, but what I did do was I kept asking, and this is what everybody can do and implement right away. So if this is my tip, this is it.
Okay.
You're going to center yourself. And I am not a big meditator. So there's the confession. I'm sure it's awesome for people, but it's not me.
I love it.
So this is how I cheat, because I am all about, remember, I'm corporate, and it's all about getting to the finish line, right?
Right. Results. Let's get it. Let's do it.
I just want results. Right. This is how we think. And so this is what you're going to do. So everyone who's listening, you're going to go ahead and sit down where you can lay back or relax. You're going to close your eyes. Okay. And you're going to allow them to flutter as you roll your eyeballs up toward your eyebrows. Can you see it?
Mm-hmm. I'm doing it.
All right. Now you're going to give yourself just a moment. Just allow that to settle and relax yourself. I'm going to give you the cheat sheet method, right? This is it. This is moving your brain from that thinking side of itself into that semi-conscious theta brainwave state. And that is where you're able to access more easily the other side. I call it the other side. It's just not this plane. You're going to another higher dimension, okay? So in this state, I want you just to ask yourself within your mind, or make the statement, I connect with my higher self, and I ask for the next step, the next opportunity to come to me, to be shown to me. And you just hold it. Thank you. It is done. And that's it. Try that. Now, there's many more, obviously, difficult things we can do. But I'm going to tell you, if you take that moment and you listen, just centering yourself in that way and putting it into the universe, that's how you put things into the universe. Show me the next step. Show me the next opportunity. You will be amazed at what starts to happen. And I'm going to promise it is not going to be the first time you do it. Okay? You have to truly be putting it out there and open. It's up to you too to identify what's an opportunity. It doesn't mean every single thing that comes to you is the next opportunity. This is where you have to, again, you would do the same exercise, roll your eyes up and feel like, let's say, I get an opportunity to speak. Well, not every speaking engagement is for my highest and best, my best use of my time or my energy or even the audience that I'm meant to talk to. Mm. And so you would roll your eyes up and say, again, allow your mind to help you. Is this the best opportunity for me? Is this the highest and best use of my time? Whatever. And feel it. That's how an easier way to feel that voice within you. And it's going to take a little practice if you're not as connected as you could be, or as we said, you're at a bit of a lower vibration. But this is how you begin to shift it.
Yeah. No, this is great. And I see people that meditate with their eyes turned up like that. It just helps you go into that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just like that. And the more you do it, the faster you flip over. It's like a switch. Obviously, for me, I've been doing it a really long time. So it literally is like a light switch, just bam, and I'm over the other side. It's no big deal. So the more you practice, that's why I'm saying it may not work for you the first time, but that's not where you respond, oh my God, that doesn't work. No, it works. You just need to give it more time, more practice, because that's going to be the best use of your time than anything else you're running around doing. The other thing I know, right? I mean, it's not about how much time you spend doing something. It's really about where you are in the energy. And the easier it is for you to be able to move over to that side and allow that to happen, because that's another control thing. You have to be willing to allow that to occur for you. Then you know that your vibration is rising. Because the truth is, when I connect to people, it's fascinating to me, because even though they have paid me and paid me very well, they still, on a mind level, can resist. I had a client once, and it would take 20 minutes, which for me is crazy because I can do a whole session in 15. So you know you are fighting me with everything you have. Yes. If I have to work around the mind and do all of these other energetic things to get you to relax that grip just a smidge, right? Mm-hmm. So you keep practicing so that you then will know too how you're doing. And I know that I've shared with you an audio.
Yes.
And in there, I walk you through actually one of my energy clearings and activations. And in there, you will do the same practice. And I also offer you the opportunity to add your intention, because it is a now moment. So your higher self, not regulated by time. And this is the most frustrating thing for people in this, hello, we're time oriented, right? We even talk about where we're driving in time. It'll take you 20 minutes to get there. It's not 5 miles.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't realize how time oriented we are, but the other side is not time oriented. And so the way these audios are set up are to work with you in whenever you're listening to them. And you may add your intention for what it is you're asking, for clarity for, or, helping you to work through. And it's a great short version to assist people to unlock and unleash their ultimate abundance.
That sounds amazing. Well, I'm going to put the link to your website, GabrielleSpencer.com, and also the link to the MP3 that you can download.
Right.
Into when I edit this. So it'll be you'll see it somewhere. If you're watching this, I will edit it and you can just click on the link. So anything exciting coming up for you?
Oh, I am involved in so many things. Yes, I'm going to be doing 2 things, actually. One is I'm going to be doing an Ultimate Abundance Facebook challenge in December, mid-December. Okay. I know 9 days where we'll be doing actually clearings and activations of these lower vibrations that we're talking about. Yeah. Getting rid of the guilt and the shame and helping you to release I don't deserve and I can't charge people and I need to struggle and lack and all that other yucky, those lower vibrations. Yeah. And that's what that 9-day challenge is about. So that's super exciting. And then in January, I will be unleashing my Women's Ultimate Abundance package, which is a group program, and it's going to be all of that plus doing the bigger work having to do with clearing the heart, the spirit, and the mind. So you have it all working in unison. Right. So basically, you're not fighting yourself. Yeah. Because the truth is we all do that. Like we've been talking about, with your mind is battling you and your heart's battling you and your gut's battling you and everybody's, you feel like I'm beating up before I even get started.
Yeah, right. Definitely. No, that sounds amazing. And people can find out about that on your website?
They won't be able to find out about it on my website. They'll have to opt into my Ultimate Abundance package and my Ultimate Abundance MP3.
Yeah.
Yes, I will tell you that as much as I love technology, I keep my life as simple as I can. Perfect. And I'm not a big emailer, but that's how I will get things out to people, and my Facebook business page.
So they'll get notified if they get your MP3, they will be notified of all of this good stuff.
All the good stuff and the free activations are coming up to deal with just what we've been talking about. Because this group energy, and I will leave with this, group energy, when we all join our energy together and are working towards the same goals, we are able to do so much deeper healing work. So you and I together can do really deep, but when you add that additional energy and we're working on the same goals, it is phenomenal what can happen for you.
Yeah.
And that's what I want for everybody, because the more of us that free ourselves from this, the more and the easier it is for everybody thereafter. So it's a gift that keeps on giving.
That's beautiful.
At Christmas, right?
Yeah. Well, thank
gift
you.
You're gonna get.
This has been amazing. I know that people are just going to love this. I turned off my Facebook so I can't see any notifications or anything. But if you have any questions, please just post them down in the comments below, and I will get them over to Gabrielle so she can answer them. And if I can't do it, if I can't answer them myself. Thank you everybody for watching, and thank you so much for being my guest. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the live stream, but just hold on one moment. So. Say goodbye to everyone. Thank you so much.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Happy holidays.
Yes.